Hey everybody, hey YouTube, this is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine. It is it's like 1:20 a.m. on I guess Thursday night, Friday morning, November 20th, 2020. I'll wait for some people to get in the chat. If you're already in here, welcome. I hope you're getting through this stuff okay. I know none of us are really getting through it okay, but I hope you're finding some defenses to bring your percentage level down to pain, bring your percentage level down to the intensity of the targeting. But welcome to chat. I have some more on the agents being hit all around the globe. These American news organizations. I don't think they're purposely doing this, but I think they're being fed information where they're just putting it all on Russia. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that in a second. But just give me 1 second, guys. I'm not feeling too well. I'm going to play some music while we kind of wait a little bit. Feeling really reading. Still what I'm doing is helping grounding Dave Case's CD and everything. Hey, Drunken Ninja. How you doing, man? How are you doing, brother? How are you getting through this? Hey, Tanya. Hey, Nadia. I've got some good information tonight. I mean, it's like the information that we're putting out right now. It's, American intelligence agents being hit by remote microwaves, like while they're in Russia, while they're in Australia, while they're in China, while they're in Cuba. So, like the things that have happened, the ambassadors and intelligence agents that have been hit, this should be solved, right? Everybody should be going, hey, that's, this is happening. Drunken Ninja says, good brother, how about yourself? I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. It's just a long time of being tortured, like the inside of my body just feels all squeezed and stuff. Tanya says, hey Kyle, great to see you and everyone. Yeah, I'll go ahead and open up this article from the Sun, guys. This is really, really important. And I just want to get anything out that's like, I mean, this is mainstream. This is a mainstream news article about remote microwaves. Here, wait, let me get my tablet out real quick. Just bear with me, guys. Just bear with me a second. It's like I was telling somebody else tonight. It feels like every cell in my body is having trouble getting oxygen, and I think that has something to do with the remote neural manipulation. But I hope everybody in chat is doing okay, getting through this. I know that we're not. So really, the most important thing is to stop the program. But guys, you got to get on the defenses and taking care of yourself, making it better for yourself. Because the only thing that I can see, the thing that I see right now is that, the programs can be stopped, but it's like what we've got to do is make the people doing this to us say, okay, it's time to stop this. And it looks like that's happening. So if we can push, maybe we can make a difference. And it's just, these programs are just so huge. All we can do is really get out information, get organizations, our families behind us, the courts behind us, doctors behind us, just everything, and keep going. While we buy time, with defenses and supplements and things. I put on a little bit of pogo. This feels so horrible. My attackers, like if I do put out good information or anything, they will just beat me down. Hey, Pine Dot. Pine Dot says, hey, everybody. Hey, Pine Dot. Hope you're doing okay. Let me open up this article. I just opened it, but I switched the screen. I'm going to open this here. Okay, so the immaculate concussion, and this is what Dr. Hoffer called it when I went and got an appointment with him. He called it the immaculate concussion because it's changing our white matter tracks, right? Like the remote microwaves, like the fields around our head, the streams of energy to our head. And I think that's in conjunction how they do remote neural manipulation and pain to the head too. You can't see it. It's changing our white matter tracks. Immaculate concussion because it's out of sight, out of mind. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me get my live chat. And please give this a thumbs up, guys, so it can get out there. This is really, really important information. Drunken Ninja says they won't stop for me unless they run out of funding. Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing. Drunken Ninja, it's like in my targeting probably like 2014 or so, and it wasn't really the very beginning, but it was where I started to figure out things. I said, my attackers are making me feel like I was going to die every night. They were making me feel like I was going to have a heart attack every night or an aneurysm because they were just like burning the left side of my body. And I said, okay, well, I can't depend on my attackers to show me mercy or stop. So I'm going to have to depend on defenses, and I'm going to have to stop them, right? So that's the option that we have at the moment. We've got to stop them with defenses, and then we've got to get to stopping the programs. I agree with you. I agree with you, Drunken Ninja. I agree. Pine Doc says, my brain started popping, and then I started doing handstands and letting the blood flow to my head, and that actually helped a lot. So if you're having pain in the brain, try sitting upside down. Pine Doc says, I don't know what the popping was, but I think it has to do with blood flow. Yeah, yeah, Pine Doc. I mean, I guess that could work. The thing that I'm learning though from Dr. Giordano, and also like when I sleep, I sit up. Like if I lay down flat, I'm gonna have way more high pitched sound and way more burning in my body. So I try and get the blood flow away from my head because they're actually using increased blood flow cavitations that go to the brain and stuff like that. So they're like making these fields and conducting EMF to the vestibular system. And if you have too much blood flow to the head, everything's going to be stronger because it's creating these little cavitations to the brain. How they're actually manipulating our brain. But whatever works for you. Whatever works for you, standing upside down works for you. I don't see a problem with that. I've just found that getting blood flow away from the brain helps me. So it might be different for people. But check this out. So this is from the Sun, guys. Immaculate concussion, Russian. So this is off of the article that I read on the last live stream. I didn't finish it, so we're going to finish that tonight. But basically what this is this is the Sun, and it saw that GQ article, and then it wrote an article too. And that's what we have in a lot of media. We have you'll have one media outlet that's like on the take with the military industrial complex. They write an article saying all the things that Mockingbird Media wants them to say, the system wants them to say. Then other magazines, other newspapers pick it up, and they just run with that same story. So that's why our media is so screwed up, because you have liars, and then you have the people that just copy off the liars. So immaculate concussion, Russians use secret microwave weapon. Look, this is mainstream news, guys. This is the Sun and GQ. GQ wrote an article about remote microwave weapons. Done. It should be done. It should be done. This should be done. Russians use secret microwave weapon to target American spies across the globe, including on U.S. soil, CIA probe claims. And this is from Hannah Carter. Russian agents use a top secret microwave weapon to inflict brain damage on American spies and diplomats across the globe. And even on U.S. soil, a CIA probe is set to reveal. Doctors and scientists reportedly believe the mysterious illnesses that have plagued embassy officials in recent years can be traced to the KGB research into directed energy beams designed to disrupt brain function. So, I mean, we see it right here, right? We see how they're writing these articles. It's coming out that remote microwaves are hitting people and affecting their brains, and they're just saying, oh, this is all Russia. Russia's the only country that has directed energy weapons, which is insane, because let me just show you something real quick. Let me just show you something real quick. And I'll probably do a shorter video on this, guys. But I just want to show it. Everybody, every country knows about this. We know that. We know that all the countries' military industrial complexes and contractors know about this. But I want to show you something. Hold on one sec. Okay, here it is. And I've showed some of these reports before, guys, and you guys can go look them up. This is Directed Energy Weapons Market Report for 2019 to 2020. So New York, March 6, 2019, forecast by product type, high-powered microwave, high-powered laser, analysis of defensive, offensive, non-lethal applications for leading defense and civilian companies with DO Technologies, high-energy laser. But check this is the part that I want to show you. The growing demand for non-lethal weapons is a primary driver of the market. Vision Gain expects that countries such as Russia, the US, the UK, Israel, China, Japan, South Korea, India, and the UAE will increase their demand for these weapons during the forecast period, owing to the increasing extremist attacks and territorial disputes, and experimenting on their own citizens and scaling up these weapons. But you see how this little paragraph right here, it doesn't just say Russia, it doesn't just say KGB, it shows US, UK, Israel, China, Japan, South Korea, India, and the UAE. These are leading companies in the directed energy markets. They're all using directed energy, using it on their citizens, using it on other agents from other countries. These are the, I haven't put it in the description yet, guys. Hey, Q. Q says, hey, Vulcan. Q says, big fan, man. Thank you, brother. Canada up in the house at the Knuckleheads. How are you guys doing in Canada? We're about to be like you guys. We're about to have this, you know, we're going to have like a universal income. There's going to be a lot more false flags. It's going to be feeding society to the state, just so much more. It was already like that, but with Biden in office, it's just going to be terrible. But guys, these are the companies that you need to look at. These are the leading manufacturers, and probably some of them actually do. They may directly experiment on us, but they have these subcontractors that work for them that will actually use the weapons and experiment on citizens for most of them. So you have Azimuth Corporation, BAE Systems, which was on my ASN number, Battelle, the Boeing Company, which was on my ASN number, General Dynamics Corporation, which is an energy company. They were on my ASN number, Kratos Defense and Security Solutions, Lockheed Martin Corporation, MBDA, Northrop Grumman Corporation, Thales Group, Raytheon Company, and Rheinmetall AG. And I haven't seen some of these like Azimuth. I haven't seen Battelle. I haven't seen, and Rheinmetall. I haven't seen. But see, this just goes against that whole narrative of, oh, this is Russia. Oh, Russia just has some new weapons and everything like that. Goes completely against it, because you see these, they have so many directed energy market reports that show everybody, America, Israel, Russia, the UK, Australia, everybody. Hey, Charles. Charles says, hey, Kyle and everyone. How are you doing, brother? And hey, Rose. Hey, Karen. Hang with me, though. This information's important. I just feel like my chest hurts so bad. Karen, did you get an electrostatic egg from Roger Tolsis? Would you tell everybody if it was effective or not in chat? I really want to do a defense live stream soon, maybe this weekend. Just get on the live stream. You guys basically know what I do, but I want some of you guys bringing your ideas. So if you guys can be thinking about like at least that you use for defense that seems to give a percentage of relief, please be thinking about that. Be thinking about that, and I'll try and hold off the live stream till like the end of this weekend or the beginning of next week, and we'll do a long live stream just talking about shielding, supplements, so electronic shielding, passive shielding, supplements, cleansing, everything, just everything. So make sure to like if you want to, because I know a lot of targeted individuals are kind of like, well, I got something good and I don't want to tell a bunch of people because it may stop working. If that's the case, don't worry about it. But if you've got something good and you're like, I want to let people know about this, this is really helping me. It's something way different from what I'm using or other targeted individuals are using. Please think about it and bring it, because I'm going to do the live stream like probably the beginning of next week. I may do live streams or videos this weekend, but I'll wait on that so you guys can be thinking about that, because we're looking like what my whole method is like getting defenses, and then it's like, okay, well, that doesn't work. I'll take that off. I'll add something else, and then I've got my combination going, right? It's still not perfect. I'm still getting hurt, but it seems to work pretty good, and I think we should all work on that. Okay, so Karen says it wasn't effective, used for 5 months. Okay. I was thinking, mate, I was hoping that would have promise, but we've talked about that. I've talked about that with you. Tanya says, hi, Stacy, miss you. I hope you're doing great. And I think she's at work, but she'll be popping in to a lot of my live streams. She's getting targeted hard, but I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about her private stuff. So, okay, so let's go back to this, guys. I mean, this is a mainstream article, right? Mainstream article. This is out. This is out. And so what I'm seeing, and like, I don't know, this is so unprecedented. I don't know how this stuff is going to go, or how it's, I kind of know how it's going. It's all being tried to be, they're trying to cover up everything. Even when we get something that's just like, oh, wow, the UN Special Rapporteur knows about cyber. Wow, he said he's going to stop it in 2 to 4 years, yet he stays silent. Like he keeps all those testimonies covered up. They have this huge chance to reveal it, and he keeps it covered up because he's probably scared too, or he got a talking to. But you see these articles, these are mainstream. These are mainstream. They're saying that agents are being hit, American agents everywhere. And in other countries, you probably have these stories about how they went to America and got hit, right? Because if America, you got to think about it. If America, Russia, China, all these bigger countries are experimenting on their own citizens, why would they care if like another citizen of another country came in and was maybe doing some kind of work for their country against the other country? Man, they'll remote neural manipulate them in a second, without a second thought. So an investigation by the CIA has reportedly found U.S. officials have been targeted by a directed energy attack, and Russians are likely to blame. When are the Russians not likely to blame? Former CIA spy Mark Polymeropolis says he was struck down by mystery illness in Moscow. According to GQ, a team of investigators at the CIA's headquarters in Langley concluded the victims were targeted by a device that could be beamed through walls and windows from up to 2 miles away. I would say it's even further. If they have over-the-horizon radars, they can probably do it even further than 2 miles. That's why I'm always saying you're probably being hit by an integrated directed energy weapon system with maybe human operators, maybe not, at a military base in your like city or around your city. That's probably what's happening. And then maybe you got supplement weapons hitting you too. The victims reported ringing in their ears, dizziness, migraines, and vertigo. What a targeted individuals report. I was talking to somebody last night, and I was like, man, the ringing in my ears is so bad, and I'm nauseous, and I'm dizzy, and I can't even stand up. And some had longer-term effects such as fatigue, loss of vision, and difficulty sleeping or concentrating. Doctors dubbed it Havana syndrome after 26 American diplomats fell ill while serving in Cuba in 2018. Researchers found their brains were altered and began referring to it as immaculate concussion as the symptoms. And the researcher they're talking about, the person that coined that phrase, is the doctor that many targeted individuals have gone and gotten appointments with, Dr. Hoffer. Dr. Hoffer coined the phrase that intelligence agencies and the DOD and pretty much everybody in America that's writing a news article on this stuff is calling it an immaculate concussion. And the doctor that me and a bunch of other targeted individuals have gone and seen, and he was like, with me, he was like, I have no doubt that you're being targeted by directed energy weapons. It's just not the same. The same exact thing to your inner ear isn't happening that what was happening to the Cuban embassy attack, the Cuban embassy workers. So as the symptoms were similar to a head injury caused by an impact. And Dr. Hoffer also speaks on this, and he also talked to me about this, that it changes the white matter tracks because they're remote neural manipulating, sending signals to and from the brain, and it's causing this like this small concussion that's changing the way that you think, that changing the way that you learn. It's manipulating those. An investigation by the FBI and CIA at the time pointed the finger in suspicion of the Cold War enemy. Enough evidence at the time to publicly blame Moscow. Evidence. I mean, so many targeted individuals are being so blatantly attacked, being blatantly tortured and murdered in their homes, being blatantly gang stalked, and it's just like, well, this is new. It's unprecedented. So what kind of evidence do we need to give everybody? There's hundreds of thousands of people speaking out, probably millions of people being targeted, you know? Q says it's all over soon, no worries. Yeah, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with the end of times, the end of days, Jesus coming back, the world ending, humanity ending, anything like that. You know, I'm just not sure how things are going to roll out. But man, I do think that we can create great change and awareness of normal people who are good in our society so we can get help from them, right? Like, I just want to create more of an army of aware, good people, because it seems like the main weapon being used on society today to destroy humanity. And Tucker Carlson said this. Tucker Carlson said this on like a recent video he made. And like in 2014, I was screaming this at my attackers. I was screaming what he was saying. I was like, you want to create a society that's full of deceit. Now, the murder, the torture, the brain experimentation, the remote neural manipulation, all that rips people apart, rips families apart, rips our lives apart, but it stems from deceit. If we had a less deceitful society and people put more stock into being honest, we wouldn't have a lot of these problems. We wouldn't have these tragic problems. And Tucker Carlson said it. He was like, we have so much deceit in our society. The way to fix it is to start being honest, to start telling the truth. And I was screaming this at my attackers. Things are going to become so violent, and they have, and people are going to be tortured, people are going to be killed, and everything like that. And they are when everybody's so deceitful. Like, we have to get with our divine connection, and people are just being told that doesn't matter. You can be cynical, you can lie, blah blah, nothing works. But that's not true. That brings everything into this nasty, negative, violent place when everybody's deceitful. And Charles says, yeah, it messes up the oval and round windows in the cochlea. They need these to turn your ear into a biofeedback loop and photonic gyroscope. Yeah. Messes up the oval and round windows in the cochlea. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, like, I use Dave KCD and then I use these noise canceling hearing aids. They some kind of frequency to the inner ear, and it just knocks everything down, like the remote neural manipulation down at least like 70%. It still sucks. Like, my attacks still hurt, but we have to break off that neural amplification, right? Like that neural amplification that's a bio-relevant feedback loop from the brain to the inner ear, from the inner ear to the brain to the nervous system. You've got to get pleasing music, Dave Case CD, noise canceling hearing aids, some kind of frequency. And I think Dave Case CD and the noise canceling hearing aids have like a scientific interfering frequency with that what they're doing to the inner ear. It's like necessary. I know those things are annoying, but it's really necessary to get that neural amplification off, because if you're blocking everything else, like you're doing passive shielding and everything, they're still going to have that grip on, you know. We got to find something like Dave Case CD that's like more soothing to listen to. Rose says, for V2K, try radios placed in all areas of your place. Try playing a static station on the radio also. White noise can help too. Yeah, awesome, Rose. Yes. Yes, very good idea. White noise, pink noise, and brown noise. I found that brown noise was the best for me. But white noise, pink noise, yeah, thank you for reminding me. Because that can also interfere with the inner ear stuff. You know. Yeah, Pine Doc says the V2K is really hard to deal with. It's just like, at a certain point though, this is kind of hopeful, guys, like, because the V2K kept psychic driving me, and I would like lose my mind, like my mind couldn't stop going. But then after so many years, it's like the V2K is going right now, but somehow my brain just clicked over time. It wasn't one day, but my brain just clicked, and now it doesn't feel like it's going to drive me insane. It feels just like something that's there. Your body, your nervous system, your brain are amazing machines that God made. Hey, Mitchell says, yeah, I've been targeted for 15 years. I'm a bike builder. They keep promising me to go on TV if I stop certain things. You know, I've got hit and run accident off my motorcycle, broke my back. You know this. Yeah. That sucks, Mitchell. I'm sorry. Hopefully we'll get on TV soon, like some bigger TV. Okay, Rose says it doesn't totally stop it, but it deters them a little bit. You can get cheap radios on Amazon for 40 bucks. That's really creative. That's a good idea. We've got to try everything. And if you're putting radios all over your place, some of them may be, you know, receiving some of those signals. I'm not sure. Charles says, get a pulse generator and run it at the earth frequency. It should dampen their radio waves. Okay, so pulse generator. Charles, is that something we can just buy on Amazon or online, or do we have to build it? Yeah. Pine Doc says, listening to white noise would be way better than our harassers. They are really disgusting. Mine have been doing it so long, it's mostly automated, and they just like yell at me like, retard, kill yourself. But it's just like I don't respond anymore. I'm not responding emotionally anymore because it's been so long. So they keep the automated stuff on, and it never gets really, I guess it does. Occasionally gets really, really disgusting. Just know this is definitely a factual thing that I've learned, guys, as a targeted individual. If you don't want your attackers doing something or the gang stalkers doing something, it's easier said than done, right? But if you don't want something done to you, don't respond to it. Don't respond to it emotionally. Don't get upset. Easier said than done, right? But at a certain point for me, some things that I'd get emotionally upset about and I'd just wig out and I'd get angry. It was going on for so long that I was just like, okay, I can't survive like this. I'm going to have to neutralize it. I'm going to have to neutralize those emotions in myself. Neutralize. Poof. It's something the Scientologists say, like you break that charge. You neutralize that charge of that traumatic event. But it's like with us, it's different because it's not just neutralizing a charge of a traumatic event that happened in the past to us. It's neutralizing that charge all the time because you're getting targeted and tortured and 24 hours a day that never stops. And so we've got to have, I mean, we do. God has given us amazing things in our body. you got to basically reach for a mechanism that hasn't really been used in you, you know, to actually to ignore, to neutralize your emotions against being killed, against being harassed. It's easy. It's way easier said than done. I can do it sometimes. Okay, Charles says you can build one. Charles says it's much cheaper to build one. Okay, so a pulse. You said a pulse generator. Okay, that stuff's hard for me to build. Pine Doc says they're using my love and faith in Jesus, and then they're always attacking it strongly. Blasphemy day and night, on and on and on. Do you have this, Pine Doc, or anybody else? Like, I was trying to get a mantra, and I was just like, in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of Jesus Christ. My attackers will say it the first time, but then they will not say the name Jesus. And I guess maybe it's for their protocol or something. But it seems like if I do a mantra with Jesus in it, they won't say it. Okay, so Generation says, hi, Kyle. White noise and pink noise are also for RF emissions besides sound, types of RF noise generators. Okay, okay. Okay, so Generation says, RF pulse generator. I never tried it, but you can buy it on eBay. Okay. Yeah, Charles Hall says, yeah, Dave Case's CD is based on science. I just wish it wasn't so annoying for some targeted individuals, you know. Oh, yeah, Alan says my V2K handlers usually repeat, he knows or he doesn't know. Yeah, mine did that too. Like I would be thinking something like, oh, they're doing this to my brain. And the woman would go, he knows what you're doing. And the guy would be like, I don't care. I don't give an F, you know. They still kind of do that sometimes. Okay, Elizabeth Fakweir says, did you see they're commercializing ultrasound speakers in Israel by next Christmas as sound bars? Yeah, and they had, somebody was sending me stuff about Audio Spotlight. They've had some of those things like Audio Spotlight where a family member could have a speaker just directed right to their head and only they would hear it, right? And that's been around for a long time. A lot of these products have been around for a long time that have to do hitting the head with sonic, with targeted sonic, where they would only, the person getting the stream of sonic energy would only hear it, right? So, okay, well, this is a good segue. Sonic attack. American diplomats were apparently targeted again at the U.S. mission in Guangzhou, China, where staff began suffering from a mysterious malady resembling brain injury and had to be flown home. Officials called it a sonic attack as victims heard loud buzzing noises and unofficially pointed the finger at Russia. Yeah, because we just point the finger at Russia no matter what happens. Now reported were further suspected attacks, including at least 2 on the U.S. mainland. Let me say this, if it was Russia hitting every American with directed energy weapons, then why would Edward Snowden move to Russia? Why would why would Julian Assange, didn't he go there for a little while? Who was a targeted individual, moved to Russia, and her directed energy attacks went down because America's hitting its own citizens. They move to another country. America doesn't want to hit them there too much, right? I think that they still get hit in Russia, but I would think that it would slow down because America's like probably worried, okay, we're hitting this American citizen with directed energy. Russia's gonna like be surveilling that and seeing what frequencies we're using to experiment on our own citizens, right? That's why I think that moving to like the enemies of your country is a good idea to get away from this, but it also gets you in more trouble because your attackers can be like, oh, well, he's colluding with Russia or something, right? I mean, I don't know how much they do that. Okay, Pondoc says they will confess Jesus Christ, but they won't confess that Jesus Christ conquered and defeated Satan. Pondoc says he came in the flesh, was slain, resurrected. They will confess that, but then they will blaspheme and say it's Lucifer's son. Oh, wow. Well, amen to he came in the flesh, was slain, resurrected, and will return. Hey, Arachno Nixon, man, how you doing? Generation said the sounds inside the brain, the sounds inside the brain. There's a technology for sonic stimulation of the brain, and that's implantable. I hear it changes while I think on something. Yeah, yeah. They're using a whole spectrum of the electromagnetic frequency, which is sonic, RF, microwave, all these different things, right? So they can shift it to infrasound, ultrasound, certain kind of sonic vibrations that are electromagnetic frequencies. Pine Doc says they said that they are using BrainGate, Synapse, and a brain to computer interface, so they take over my thoughts fully and blasphemy. They're not your thoughts though. Just know context, right? Know what you're capable of thinking. Know who you are, right? And we say this all the time. But you get some thoughts in your head that are blasphemous, disgusting, mean, or whatever, and you're not like that. It sucks because it's like a lot of things I know aren't my thinking, but they've been doing it so long, it still hurts. Arachnonixus says Putin is just another NWO puppet of Israel, in my opinion. I think I agree with you. Pine Doc says they will change the words in my thoughts, so when I think of names in Scripture, they will always allow to escape. Oh wow, I'm sorry, Pine Doc. Yeah. Mine like hurt me a lot. I guess they do kind of. I mean, they just call me retarded and stuff. And then if I pray the Our Father, they'll repeat it like anything except the power of Christ compels you and Jesus Christ is my Savior. But they'll repeat any other prayer that I say. Drunken Ninja says NWO is real and it's coming from the West. I think it's coming from everywhere, man. I think it's the top of the pyramid and they're using every country. But the really right is that America is like the most powerful country, and the NWO is using America to fulfill a lot of globalist agendas. Even when they had a nationalist president like Donald Trump, who wanted to kind of keep America, he was kind of battling a little bit to keep America a little bit independent. America was still being used for globalist agendas. While there was a president who was against globalists, America was still being used for NWO tactics. So you're completely right. Yep. Yeah, Drunken Ninja says we're the top of the pyramid. See, I think spiritually we're the top of the pyramid. The people who would be in society, in physical, secular society, they're at the bottom rung or they're being tortured or something. You flip that pyramid upside down, is the people who are getting the most persecuted or the strongest spiritually or the best people. Hey, Samia. Samia says, God bless you. God bless you, Samia. I hope you're doing okay. I really hope you guys are doing okay. That's why we're gonna wait. Okay, but I want to make that announcement again. Defensive live stream, probably at the beginning of next week. Start preparing, guys. Start thinking of stuff that really helps you. At least one thing, and bring it to the live stream. And I'm gonna like put it a day out. Like I'm gonna let everybody know defensive live stream, and it's gonna be like a day. I'll give you guys a day notice. Yeah, Drunken Ninja says, yeah, Arachnid Ninja says, yeah, 2 days in a row. Nice dedication, Kyle. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get back into it. My brain's just been like, I can't get things organized in my brain, and I'm just so tired. But I am. I'm going to try and come back and just keep putting information out. And I still have some stuff in the editing thing. Drunken Ninja says they made America the new Babylon. They even put an obelisk in the Capitol. Yeah, the Washington Monument, the obelisk. Pine Doc says New Babylon and the Whore of Babylon describes the Vatican cardinals, purple and scarlet, and the rosary pearls and the vessels of gold. They made themselves merchants. Yeah. Merchants of gold and silver, not really caring about the spirit. Oh, really? Arachno Nixon says Washington Monument is exactly 555 feet tall. Isn't it something like 666.6 like circumference or something? Tanya says, Samia, hi, thinking of you. Okay today, on waiting list for surgery. I hope that goes okay, Tanya. Yeah, Drunken Ninja says, Pine Knot, keep praying. It just sends them closer to the hellfire. These people live in a hell that you guys can't even imagine. We're all targeted, but we're all like regular human beings with emotions and empathy and everything, and it hurts a lot. The coldness of these, some of them soldiers who might have started into the military to help people, now they've gone on a road where they are the worst, the most just traitorous people. I mean, their punishment. My attackers are probably on that integrated directed, and they're just empty as crap. They've got to watch me use the bathroom. These people's lives are horrible. They need even worse lives though for trying to murder people. No, some of them have murdered people because targeted individuals have died. Okay, so officials called it a sonic attack as victims heard loud buzzing noises and unofficially pointed the finger at Russia. Hold on, I want to put some music on. No, I don't want to put music on. It's going to be too distracting. Where was I? Oh man. Well, let me redo that, guys. Hold on one second. Sorry, one second, guys. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now reports have revealed there were further suspected attacks, including at least 2 on the U.S. mainland. So they're saying from Russia to the American mainland, you had Americans being hit by something remotely from Russia. I think some reports they're saying that the Russians followed them around, but those are lies because with over-the-horizon radar, it can go from continent to continent to hit one single human being target, or many, or a whole community or population, or city. In 2019, 2 top CIA spies, including one of the agency's top 5 highest-ranking officials, traveled to Australia to meet intelligence counterparts. That's in 2019. Both the Americans were struck down with a mystery illness in their hotel room, sources told GQ. They suffered a ringing in their ears, pressure in their heads, nausea, and dizziness. Feeling better, they then traveled to Taiwan to meet with intelligence officials there, but felt unwell again in their hotel rooms. Now, that's remote. That's not people following them around and hitting them. That's not somebody from Australia following them to Taiwan and hitting them from another hotel room. That's just remote. I would bet anything that is just remote. They were getting hit remotely in Australia. Then they go to Taiwan. They get hit more with remote microwaves. And who knows, they might have been secretly agents. They might have been going to Australia. No, it says they were CIA spies. But I wonder if they said that. I wonder if they went to Australia and they said, oh, we're ambassadors or whatever. And then that's a lie, right? Australia is like checking out every like United States agency members or ambassadors' heads, right? Now they can just tap into people's heads and see if they're lying. So you get these people who like maybe Australian agents meet these people and they say they're something else. They don't say they're CIA spies. And then these Australians are suspicious of them and they're like, well, we've got this technology. Let's check their heads out. Then the CIA spies' heads start ringing. They want to, Australia's intelligence agencies want to see why they're there. You guys get the picture, right? So these technologies are being used everywhere operationally, and then they're being used on a lot of us operationally and experimentally. Attacks on U.S. soil. I mean, come on, like citizens are being butchered on U.S. soil, microwaved to death. Like they're only going to pay attention to the agency workers, and all of us, we're mentally ill. I mean, give me a break. According to 3 government sources in 2018, an American diplomat and his partner who had fallen ill with the sickness in China were struck down again by the symptoms when they were in Philadelphia. So, okay, so that's 2 of the workers, American diplomats. They were probably these diplomats and ambassadors that are getting hit in these other, like Cuba and China. It seems they just turn out to be CIA agents. So you see in the picture of these foreign intelligence agents having technology to just go ahead and remote neural monitor somebody. Some of these CIA agents have no idea about the technology, right? They're not being trained because it's all being covered up. You got this huge mess of people in intelligence agencies in some countries being able to use this technology on other people from intelligence agencies in other countries who don't know about it. They're getting sick. They go to their boss or their manager. They're told to shut up because they're trying to cover up all this technology. You see, guys, you see how messed up it's getting? The center cannot hold in a good way. The center cannot hold in a good way with all this stuff coming out. People are complaining about it too much. Even agents that are getting hit by it, they're, people in the CIA, they're sending out agents who know nothing about these technologies, and then it's hooked to them for the rest of their life. When they go to another country and they lie about being an agent, they say they're an ambassador or something, and these other intelligence agencies are like, well, that's suspicious. We'll just go ahead and look in their head with remote neural monitoring. We'll go ahead and microwave them too. And who knows if these agents like ever get let go by these foreign countries, Yeah, Arachno Nixon says back in the day, CIA agents were notorious for impersonating other agencies, so it could be. Well, yeah, I think what you're saying is right, but I'm just talking about like Cuban embassy workers, right? And they kept calling them Cuban embassy workers, but all those Cuban embassy workers that were getting hit in microwave agents, and I think the same thing in China, the same thing in Australia, the same thing in Russia. They try and play this game of saying there's something else. These countries have this technology just like our country does, and they say, we're suspicious of that person. Let's look in their head. You see what a problem we have? Like, not just the torture, not just us dying, but this technology where it's like, let's just look in somebody's head. Oh, they may have some good ideas. Let's look in their head. They may not be what they say they are. Let's look in their head. Technology for that. Technology to do it like sending a signal to a cell phone. It's more complicated than that with the human brain, but basically. The couple were advised to move to a hotel with their children for safety reasons, but on their second night, they were struck down by the illness again. They were horrified when they checked on their children to find them moving bizarrely in their sleep all at the same time. Their children were moving in a certain rhythm in different beds, but they were being hit with electromagnetic frequencies, and they were moving in the beds at the same, like doing the same motions with their bodies. Because what had happened is whoever was attacking them was remote neural manipulating their innocent children who knew nothing about what they were doing or them being agents or anything, using electromagnetic fields on their brains and making them dance in their beds in unison. This is the kind of shit we have going on. People need to pay attention to it because it's the biggest problem in human history. The biggest problem in human history. I mean, like attacking the agent parents, and then they're like, hey, we're going to freak you guys out, so we're going to go ahead and mess with your children's brains and make them dance in bed like little marionettes, right? Like the type of stuff they do to our animals or our loved ones or anything like that. In the week after the children developed vision and balance problems, another suspected attack came shortly after Thanksgiving in 2019, this time targeting an aide to White House Security Advisor John Bolton. The sources claim the staff member was, you see, guys, it's just happening everywhere. This technology is being used everywhere, and that's why I think it can be used for dual use, can be used to hurt somebody really bad, to disrupt their brain, to just torture them, confuse them, high pitch ring in the ears. high-pitched ring type sound in the ears, getting information from the brain. But I think that it can also be, and it's being used, it's proliferated, and people are just staying hush hush about it. I think that it's also being used for Biden. I think that like there's technology like this that they're using on his brain to make his brain work faster, so there's not so much degeneration. Like I think it's used for those type of things too. Okay, so another suspected, okay, we read that. The staff member was walking her dog in Arlington, Virginia when she passed a parked van. A man had got out of the van and walked past her. Then she noticed the dog began to seize up. She then began to feel a high-pitched ringing in her ears, intense headache, and tingling in her face. According to the source, the same staff member had suddenly felt ill during an official trip to London in August 2019. When she left her hotel room, the symptoms stopped. She reported the incident to the Secret Service because of the similarities to the American diplomat stuck down in Cuba and China. Non-stop headaches. We all know about that. We all know about that. And hey, Jerusha. Jerusha says, these people are so evil, it's like witchcraft, but with technology. Yeah. But the deal is this, Jerusha. We don't have to think of it as witchcraft, right? Because it's just technology. It's just something that people don't know about. Like say we were in 1900. This is not a good reference point, but you're in 1900. Somebody tells you can get on the internet and find any kind of information you want. You'd be like, that's magic, that's witchcraft, right? But it's just technology. It seems like witchcraft and stuff like that, but they're just attacking our body and stuff like that, attacking our brain. There's evil spirituality to it too. But a lot of these things, it's like in a couple of years, this will be like the internet. People will know that their brain can be interacted with electromagnetic frequencies. This is coming to humanity, where people are like using their brain to turn on things and speaking telepathically to each other. These things are on their way. How it's going to play out, I have no idea. I don't think anybody has any idea how this is going to look. But me being a targeted individual, being like attacked, being tortured, I want it to come faster. I want the public to know about this technology, no matter what happens with it, faster, because there's no way to with the people being hurt now to gather together. Well, there's a lot of people that know about this, but the people fighting to get it stopped, to get together and destroy all the technology, there's no way that that's going to be able to happen. So we've got to it has to come out, and the public has to know about it, so it can't be used in such dangerous ways, at least for long-term periods of time, like tens of years. We just got to get it stopped. So Mark, nonstop headaches. Mark Polymeropolis, a high-ranking CIA official, says he was forced to retire from his duties in 2019 after battling a bizarre illness for over a year. While it's on a work trip in Moscow in December 2017, the burly Iraq war vet was woken in the middle of the night with horrific symptoms that left him almost unable to walk. At first, he thought he had food poisoning, but when he went to go to the bathroom, he crashed to the floor as he lost control of his body. Speaking for the first time since his departure, he told GQ that the hotel room was spinning and his ears were ringing, and it felt like he was going to both throw up and pass out at the same time. He says he has been left with agonizing migraines that continue almost 3 years later. He had given up driving after his vision was affected, and says his symptoms were so debilitating he eventually had to quit the agency. A specialist diagnosed damage to the brainstem nerve similar to a head injury, but he claims that's interesting. A specialist diagnosed damage to the brainstem nerves. Specialist diagnosed damage to the brainstem nerves similar to the head injury. So that's another angle that maybe we could get our brainstem nerves checked out. We got DTI. If we could get a DTI, 2 DTIs a couple of months apart to show changes in the white matter tracks, and then we get our brainstem nerves, because dude, I mean, I've been burned all down my spine and my head. Okay, somebody write that down. Brainstem nerves specialist. This is just another maybe just another angle that could work for us if we get our brainstem nerves checked out. Telling you guys, the stuff's coming out. You got agents everywhere getting hit by it in every country. This stuff's coming out, so we need to buy time, push on the medical, push on the defenses, push on the organization, push on the court, push on the UN, push on everything. And then we've got all this information that's just coming out about dual use 5G, agents that are coming out and talking about it. This guy got hit in what did it say, 2017, right? And then he comes out in GQ in 2020. So he's told not to talk about it, but now he's allowed to talk about 2020. Seems a little bit like stuff is coming out. Samia says, Kyle, by the grace of God, I want to expose the evil myself. Do it. Speak out. We're close to this stuff just being common knowledge of it existing in society. At least microwaves that can hurt people, microwaves that can remotely hurt people. I think it's going to get complicated when it comes to fires being started with weather, hurricanes and weather stuff being controlled, and then the mind control, but people being hit by the microwaves, their brains, getting headaches and stuff. People can wrap their heads around that. All the other details of like how this electromagnetic frequencies are being abused, it's going to take some time, You think so, Q? Q says they used it on Rudy Giuliani in his recent speech today. He was sweating profusely and stuttering and shaking. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Jerusha says, yes, I agree, Kyle. It's just evil because we are not agreeing to this. Others in the future will want it and pay. Yeah, Jerusha McBear says brainstem damage. That's really close to occipital neuralgia, damage to low back of the skull. Yeah. Can't you guys feel it too? Like, that's where it started for me before I knew I was targeted. It was like burning up my skull into this eye. And it's like they continue to do that. They continue to do some kind of manipulation, stimulation to that occipital nerve. With these articles, I think what we need to do, we need to look at Walter Reed Hospital. We need to get a lot of targeted individuals looking into Walter Reed Hospital, and we need to start like either talking to some people who have been treated for this at Walter Reed, or we need to see like what Walter Reed is testing when it's testing people who are saying, I'm being hit with microwaves. What kind of tests are they doing? What kind of results are they getting? I don't know how hard that would be to look into Walter Reed, but Walter Reed is Walter Reed. Oh, my attackers are just blanking out my brain. Hold on. Walter Reed is, when you take care of a patient, when you see a patient and you meet their needs, good God, it's treating. Thank you. Walter Reed is treating agents, soldiers, everything that have these symptoms that seem to be targeted. And let me read this part to you too. Well, it's on the other article. A specialist diagnosed damage to the brainstem nerve similar to a head injury, but he claims the CIA's doctor it and refused to refer him to a research program treating victims of the Havana syndrome. Mark said it's incumbent on them to provide the medical, not include telling us we are all making it up. You see that, guys? This is a CIA agent who is like experiencing something when he's on the job, right? But he claims the CIA's doctors ruled he was fit and refused to refer him to a research program treating victims of the Havana. You see that? Oh, do you see? Oh, mother effers. Mother effers. Mother effers. Mother. Do you guys see this? But he claims the CIA's doctors ruled he was fit and refused to refer him to a research program treating victims of the Havana syndrome. There are many, 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 many victims that work for the system that are experiencing targeting, and there's research programs treating them, and they cover it up. And they cover it all up. And this is how it comes out. This is how it trickles out. There's so many people, and they have that hospital, Walter Reed, and then research programs treating victims of what targeted individuals are talking about, and it's all covered up. And it's all covered up because the weapons are so important and they're so lucrative, and mapping the brain is so important. They got to cover it up and kill more people. They're experimenting on their own people. Different countries are attacking other agents from other countries, every one of them. What a mess. What a mess. Pine Doc says a lot of psychological operations in old CIA projects are being used, like MK Ultra, MK Often, Stargate, and Project Soulcatcher. Yeah. Pine Doc says they want us to feel alone and hopeless. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Arachno Nixon says, Pine, no two individuals' programs are exactly the same from everything I've seen and heard. Yeah, similarities, but never the same. Like I've met a lot of targeted individual. I've met a lot of targeted individuals who is like, they're getting the same kind of stuff, but it's done in a way different way, you know, like tons. Drunken Ninja, many people are getting hit by this. But you see this, right? A research program treating victims of the Havana syndrome. We have the Havana syndrome. That's what they're talking about, right? I mean, I guess that's obvious, right? But like, we have the Havana syndrome. It's targeting. It's targeting with microwave weapons. It's targeting with neuro weapons. It's reading and writing to the brain. It's attacking the brain and the nervous system. It's doing all these things remotely. External hits to the body. It's not really Havana syndrome because it's not relegated there. It's all over the globe. It's a huge industry. It should be called the world syndrome of electromagnetic frequency torture. And we'll think of something better. Many lots of people getting hit by this. Mucho más of people. Many. It's just, this is ridiculous. This is like an agent coming out and saying, look, there's all these agents being hit by microwaves. Oh, they're all going to Walter Reed. Their CIA can request that they go to Walter Reed to be treated for this. And I'm sure if they're attacked by another country, the CIA is trying to learn everything it can about what frequencies that other country is using and exactly the protocols that they're doing. But covered up research program. Mark said, it's incumbent on them to provide the medical help we require, which does not include telling us we are making it all up. I want the agency to treat this as a combat injury, but he doesn't understand it. If he thinks that he got hit with something and then it's just affecting him, that's what I thought at the beginning. I'm not sure if he did, but like at the beginning of my overt torture, they would do the hot. Oh, and this actually has a lot to do with these articles. Because you hear these people, it has to do with this protocol, because you hear some of these agency workers and ambassadors. They say when they went to the hotel room, they had the high pitched sound, they had the headaches, the nausea, and everything. Then they left the room and it got better, right? Well, at the beginning of my Pepper, stop. You want a treat, baby? Stop that. So at the beginning, when my targeting was over, I would get hit in the apartment room, high pitched sound, felt like my head was going to explode. So I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go to my parents' house. And I'd go to my parents' house to stay, and I'd hear a little bit of the high pitched sound. But this is what I thought, but I was wrong. I was like, okay, they're hitting me in my apartment with ground weapons, but then I can get away from it, and my ears are just ringing because they're like healing or something. But it was this whole psyop of when I'd leave the apartment, everything would tone down 2%. Still had the high pitch ringing in my ears a little bit, but I thought it was like, oh, they hit me in my apartment room, and then I leave the apartment, and then my ears are healing up. They did that for like a year. Like a year, I was tricked to thinking if I left the apartment, it kind of went away, and it was relegated there. So that's a huge protocol. It's a huge protocol. It seems even when they're hitting agents, So Cold War weapon. Weaponizing microwaves dates back to the Cold War. In 1961, Alan Fry, an American biologist, found that irradiating a human head with microwaves could produce the sensation of sound, even from thousands of feet away. As the Cold War waged on, both the US and Soviet Union raced to find military uses for what came to be called directed energy weapons. A directed energy weapon is a neuro weapon, but a neuro weapon is not necessarily. No, a neuro weapon is a directed energy weapon, but a directed energy weapon is not necessarily a neuro weapon if it's a directed energy weapon hitting you in the body. If created, I hope that makes sense. If created correctly, researchers at the time believed a microwave weapon could be mounted on a truck and it could cast a beam outward to form an invisible barrier to anyone in its range. But the thing is, it's like, okay, with every kind of technology, they started out and they're like, we can put this thing on a truck. But then it's like after a while, they're manufacturing, they're making money, they're manufacturing the integrated directed energy weapon systems. They're using towers, over the horizon radar, drones, and everything like that. And it goes from like, oh, we can put this huge dish on a truck to very rapidly, very, very rapidly. Well, we've got a whole infrastructure where we can beam people, right? Very, very rapidly. When they see the promise of how much they can just take people out or make them look crazy, or even hit them with positive frequencies, so they're more they're more charming and more more convincing or whatever, which may have happened with some presidents, with some congressmen, with some politicians. The committee has long-standing concern related to whether foreign adversaries might be seeking to do harm to Americans abroad, particularly the men and women of the intelligence community who often toil in shadows with no public recognition of their many sacrifices. Dude, what the stupid thing is this, that all of us that are watching this video, that are going through this article, we know way more than this person writing the article. They're trying to just blame Russia. They're just like, oh, this mysterious illness, blah, blah, blah. We all know exactly what this is. We know exactly how the United States is going to treat it if they have agents coming to them. Hidden research programs to treat American agents that have Havana syndrome. It's ridiculous that people in their homes being tortured. We know more about this important issue, and it's just all lies, right? That it's that saying by what's his face, William Casey. The moment that everything every American knows is false, our work will be done. I think their work is done. I think I hope not. I hope not. There are a lot of people that know the truth, but the majority of the American people have their heads up their booties. They got the heads up their booties. Yeah, Tanya says, Kyle, they have weapons in cars and buses. Yeah, I think so, Tanya. I think so. I just think the main thing, like how they're hitting us all the time, is an infrastructure. But yeah, supplemental ground weapons in cars and things like that. It does happen. In my protocol, it's not as much, but somebody else's protocol, it could be a big thing. Drunken Ninja says, nah, mine are real people. We can have intelligent conversations. I got real people in mind, but they're too busy doing brain-to-computer interface. They do a bunch of automated V2K, then they'll just throw in a you're retarded or kill yourself or something like that. Or things, those things could be automated, but sometimes like I'll be playing a video game or something, I'll be like, man, I'm a badass. And the guy's like, you suck at video games or something like that. It's stuff that can't be AI. Some of the stuff they throw in. I don't remember any of it right Yeah, it's different for a lot of people. I can't have until like I'll ask them something and they'll just F with me. Like we don't have any intelligent conversations. I'll ask them something and then they'll give me this jokey, untrue answer. And then if they ask me anything, I just give them a retarded, jokey answer too. So it's like the communication isn't like nice where we're having conversations. Like, let's ask them something. Well, the one thing I do ask them and they answer right away, I say, "Who do you work for? Who do you work for?" They just say NSA, and it's never the V2K doesn't say it in my inner voice. NSA will bubble up, and they just keep saying NSA. Drunken Ninja says, "Trust me, it's never your neighbors. It's a psyop." I agree. I agree. I agree, but targeted individuals are all going through a lot of stuff, and it's not like there are ground weapons that do exist, but it's probably going to be supplemental that your neighbors hit you with them. They're not going to be doing everything to you, if they're hitting you with ground weapons at all. But the thing is, like I believed it was my neighbors for years, so I don't want to. I want targeted individuals to figure things out themselves. We need to lead each other to good information, but I feel like at a certain point, some targeted individuals, and even myself, I'm wrong about stuff too. But some targeted individuals are like, this is what's happening. I know it's what's happening, and it empowers them, and it's not time yet. It's not time for them to like go to kind of progress to what may be happening more than the ground weapon. I don't know. I just don't. I want people to kind of not be triggered anymore from this stuff. Samia says, Kyle, at the end of the day, the wicked are going to hang themselves because God's word says that his curse is in the house of the wicked. And in this too, Samia, God says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. If we obey that, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, we find our victories, we make our lives better, we fight, right? We defend, we get them off, we work in any kind of non-violent, this is harder. This is what it says, non-angry way, rage way. Then we win because God will have his vengeance on evil. All we have to do is do our best in the situation that we have been put in, that we stumbled into, that we got picked for this program. I still think it has meaning. I still think that our lives have meaning. They're precious, and we do have a God that if we keep going in faith, and we keep just doing our best and even the crappiest situations and trying to survive, then we'll do good in the good situations that are to come. And I still think there's good situations to come. The darkest pit shines the brightest light. That's not the way to say it, but it's like in the darkest times, I guess I'll just say the cliche one, it's always darkest before the dawn, Yeah, Jerusha says, I hear you, Drunken Ninja. Yet it seems way too obvious, but the person is so diligent, it's insane. Just harassment, not energy stuff. Pine Doc says, to all symptoms, Jesus is the cure. Amen. Samia says, God sits and laughs at our enemies because he sees God's payday is coming. That's a sure thing. And Drunken Ninja says, no, I'll hang them. I'll let God relax on this one. That's funny, man. Many years I wanted revenge. I don't care what happens to them because it's about me, right? It's about you guys. It's about me. If I ever did something to my attackers, even with what they had done to me, it would change me and it would put me in a place. You're joking, man. I know you're joking. But how do you win? Wouldn't your attackers can you see your attackers? They love it when you yell at them. They love it when you're angry. Wouldn't your attackers just love it if you ever met them and you just got so enraged and went after them? They'd be like, we won. We tore this person up. They're an angry person now. They're not how they were at the beginning of this. Mission accomplished, I don't know. That's a complicated one because I know we're dealing with a lot of rage. I want justice. I want justice. I want human justice. And then I want to make my life better and y'all's life better. That's the attack. That's attacking them. They don't like it. They don't like it when I make these videos, when I empower you guys. They attack me really hard. If I stayed in all night cussing at them and everything and I didn't make a video, they'd be pleased as punch, you know. So it's kind of hitting this at a counterintuitive angle. They want you to be human because a human being, when a human being's being murdered, a human being's out of whack and angry and wants to, you know, defend itself, not hurt people, but defend ourselves. And they want you being human. So you got to kind of do this counterintuitive jig or dance. Yeah, Tanya says Kyle Perps. Drunken Ninja says wasn't a joke. LOL. You do your thing, man. I'm not advocating that. No, just beating them up. Just beating them up. Yeah, that's cool. I just can't advocate anything. Tanya says Kyle Perps will get the same. They are on a list. Yeah, do that. Drunken Ninja says no. They would have a black eye and a busted lip. I'd punch the guy who did this to me. I'd give him some punches. You know, I don't think that'd be bad. I'm just talking about like I wouldn't want to do the execution because like I don't care about them. They chose to do this. It was like almost a not personal thing where they're just, you know, they're ex-military or whatever, and this is just their job. I don't care about them. I want to get away from them. I don't know. I get angry sometimes. I think we do better when we're not angry. We do better when we're not vengeful. We can actually do things that can hurt them worse when we're logical. We're thinking of this logically and we're looking at the big picture. Everybody's different. Everybody, you know, get your cathartic stuff out. And if you can find them, you know, if you can find these guys, please let me know. In 1976, Russians found exposing an animal's brain to microwaves withered brain cells and damaged nerves. What a surprise. The most common symptoms of this exposure in humans is headache, fatigue, perspiration, dizziness, insomnia, depression, anxiety, forgetfulness, and lack of concentration. I've got all those except perspiration. How many have you collected, guys? Arachno Nixon in Minecraft, obviously. I wouldn't mind. Yeah. Drunken Ninja says God likes a man that and God's name. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing. And that is exactly what I'm doing. I think we've got it. Our world is so, and I know, and all you guys are doing that too. Our world is changing in ways that are unprecedented, and then we kind of still have these primal. We still have these kind of primal things a little bit. And I'm not saying that you're primal, Drunken Ninja, because like I have these things too, right? I'm just saying, like, we're like, oh, we got to beat somebody up that's attacking us, when the better thing to do and the thing that would hurt them worse would be more subtle, you know, because beating somebody up, they can sue you, or then you're the crazy person. It's all counterintuitive to the way that business is done in every country. Depends on the person you're attacking. You could just be the crazy person, even if you're defending yourself. So I just think there's a really smart way to bring these people down. I don't know though, man. I'd punch in the face. Yeah, Nadia says that list is way too vague. How many Americans are depressed, anxious, and tired? Yeah, Samia says, thing is, Kyle, these attackers are cowards. They can't do it in my face. This is the devil himself is. Yeah, they hide and they hit you all the time for a long period of time because they're cowards. You know. They need a good knock in the head. I'm agreeing with Drunken Ninja. I just, I just think a counterintuitive way we can actually do this. We can actually stop this. We can actually, but yeah, I'm really angry at him too. It's gotten to such a crazy point for me, unprecedented, where it's like I should have been killed by now. A lot of my friends have died from targeting. My dad's life, like his life hasn't been destroyed, but his brain was changed forever. And so it's like through this, I've seen the positive things that I can do. And that's why I want every target individual to experience it, getting defenses, helping other people with defenses, putting out important information. It's so empowering. It is a battle. Like this is a way that I battle it and I make a huge, huge difference. I just think as human beings, we need to be creative in our justice, our forms of revenge, I don't know, man. I mean, I think we're all angry. We're all human. It's just they use our humanity against us. I guess that's my main point. Don't let them use your normal humanity, how this is enraging. Don't let them use it against you. The CIA is said to have compiled a dossier on the cases and last December briefed the National Security Council's unit on biodefense. The National Security Council's unit on biodefense. So National Security Councils, they didn't do anything for us. Is that one that lady from Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania is on? I can't remember her name. The blonde-headed lady. Is she on? She's probably not on there anymore. But was she on there? The same thing. National Security Council. Biodefense. Okay, so however, the unit was taken off course when COVID-19 hit, draining the team's resources and time. In the meantime, a team was assembled at CIA's headquarters in Langley to investigate. They believed the injuries to the victims' brains were a result of a microwave weapon, sources revealed. So that's the team. Okay, so guys, a team of CIA agents at Langley, Virginia, said they believe the injuries to the victims' brains were a result of a microwave weapon, sources reveal. So that's very important. The CIA, that these agents who are being hit, well, their brains are being changed by microwaves. So it's clearly in this article. And mobile phone data is said to prove that known Russian agents were close by at the time. Oh, God. See, you get some good information and then they just like propaganda because they want to cover up the fact that this stuff is remote, that it can cross continents, thousands of miles. So now they put in, sources said, and mobile phone data is said to prove that known Russian agents were close by at the time of the attacks, in some cases in the same hotels, blah, 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 blah. Sources said there is strong circumstantial evidence that Russia carried out the attacks, but no definitive proof. It is claimed the CIA has buried the report and may not even have passed the intelligence to Donald Trump. Bosses are said to be reluctant to raise the issue of Russian aggression, with the president fearing he will gut the agency. Shortly before Trump was made president, the CIA released its conclusions that the Kremlin had successfully interfered with the 2016 election. Oh, God, they bring it to election interference. Trump, everything is brought to election interference. I mean, we're talking about microwave weapons and agents being hit with microwave weapons. They point their finger at Russia and then they go into election interference. And there was real election interference this time by people in America, by all these democratic states. And that's just mental illness. But hey, Russia's doing everything. Russia is like, I see a Russian behind the TV holder. You stay there. Okay, so shortly before Trump was made president, Trump dismissed the findings and branded intelligence officers as the deep state who wanted to tarnish his campaign. Since then, it is claimed the CIA does not want to publicize evidence of Russian attacks on U.S. officials that would put pressure on the president to take action. Who's to say that this CIA agent was even attacked by microwave? I think that he was, but everything's such a lie now. Are they just setting this up like a bunch of CIA agents to just act and say like, oh, we were hit by microwaves from Russia, to go ahead and point the finger of all these weapon attacks to Russia and try and blame them because this stuff is coming out at light speed? I think this guy actually was hit. Sources spoke staff from continuing attacks by hostile agents. In a statement, the CIA representatives told GQ that the agency's top priority is the health and well-being of our officers, followed very closely by collecting on hard targets, including Russia, and providing that intelligence to policymakers. Earlier this month, according to 3 sources, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence asked for and received a briefing from the CIA. The House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence asked for and received a briefing from the CIA on remote microwave attacks. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close. The House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence was briefed by the CIA on agents, on probably agents being sent to this hospital, on agents for the secret research, like doctors taking care of them. House Permanent Select Committee. Okay. So received a briefing from the CIA. Chairman Adam Schiff told GQ the committee has long-standing concern related to whether foreign adversaries might be seeking to do harm to Americans abroad, particularly the men and women of intelligence community who often toil in shadows with no public recognition of their many sacrifices. We have conducted and will continue to conduct rigorous oversight to ensure the health and safety of all intelligence community personnel. What about your own citizens who are being pulverized by microwaves and our brains are being like changed from reading and writing to the brain? Can you help us, Mr. Evil Schiff Monster? He and his staff declined to comment on if a briefing did happen or what it may have entailed. Yeah, they've got to cover it up, so all those briefings will be secret. When you got you got a Senate Intelligence Committee that's looking at the Cuban embassy attacks a while back. What was it? It's 2018, right? And then they say the word microwave. Marco Rubio like tells the papers it's microwave attacks, and then it's just shut down, right? So then they're doing all these the House Permanent Select Committee briefings in secret. I have a feeling a public Senate committee is going to pop out on this. How long it's going to take, I don't know. Okay, so let's go back to that other article. Well, let me come in the chat room, read some of y'all's chats. Arachno Nixon says rigorous oversight. Rigorous oversight. Everything has rigorous oversight in the CIA. Arachno Nixon says, guys, the CIA says they're ethical, so it's cool. Yeah. Rigorous oversight. Yeah. I like that, Samia. Samia says, Jerusha, it's about standing on what God's word says and trusting him. And the deal is, it's like, our lives aren't what we want them to be, and we're always in pain and everything like that. Some of us, it's like we can barely get through the day, but I keep holding on to God's promises, and it's amazing because things happen in ways that I never would have suspected, and it's just you can't turn away from the good that God will do in your life, even especially with this, So we can't give up, guys, and you got to raise your frequencies. Don't get into a cycle of negative frequencies and You know, don't get in that cycle. And I know it's hard because you're being murdered, you're being tortured, but you got to find something to lift you up, you know, spiritual things to lift you up, movies, I don't know, just things that you really love, your family, your friends, other targeted individuals, live streams if they lift you up, you know. So let's go back to this older article. Alan says, I keep getting 24/7 camera on Brian too, not a chat, just a live camera showing him sleeping. Yeah, so Alan, I think Brian is just turning on his live stream while he sleeps. I think sometimes he'll talk too, but I think he's at a pretty bad point where he thinks he's pretty much gonna they're gonna kill him. So I think that he wants to be doing a live stream all the time so it can just monitor that, so it can just show what's going on with him. So that I think that's what he's doing now. I think a lot of targeted individuals have done that in the past where they just have their live stream going 24/7. Sometimes they'll maybe talk, but most of the time it's just to record in case he gets killed, you know, from this torture. I kind of think that's the idea, which really sucks, which really sucks. Okay, so let's go back to this GQ article where it all started, and we're just going to read the end. Remember, this is Papadopoulos. It's not Papadopoulos. Polymeropolis. Polymeropolis. I read this whole article on the last live stream. I want to read the end, guys, and I have both of these articles in the description. Okay, so Samia says, Kyle, what do you use to protect your head? I'll go through this real quick, Samia. So I use a lot of things. Even the grounding on my left leg is used to protect my head. Because this is grounding the whole organ of my skin. So you want to ground in a big patch of your skin. It's going to ground the whole organ of your skin, right? Then I have this less EMF hat. Then I've got the noise canceling hearing aids that are sending a signal to my inner ear. Then I've got this less EMF headgear. I've got five brain coats and 5 balaclavas. These are too expensive though. I collected them over many years of dealing with this. And then so I'll take my hat off, put the less EMF headgear on, take my noise canceling hearing aids off, and then I put this on, the less EMF headgear. Shoot. You know, this plays Dave Case CD, so it's all these different things, right? I'm going to do a defense thing. I'm going to do a defense live stream this week, and I'll go through like more detail. But then I have my lead cap. It's all the way over there. But layers and different things like grounding mixed with Dave Case's CD, mixed with noise canceling hearing aids, and then you protect your head with the passive shielding. Try and get the neck and all around with something like this, something like the lead cap, right? These are balaclavas that go on. You know, try and get some good layers here, but then with those layers, have some like headphones in between the layers where you're playing pleasing music or Dave Case CD or white noise or pink noise or brown noise, because then you're going to have that, you're going to be blocking fields that are coming in, right? They're probably using heterodyne into the middle of the head to create this field, then other streams of energy. You wear the lead cap, the less EMF headgear, it's kind of blocking that. It's de-intensifying how much is coming in to your head, to your ears and everything. And then you use Dave Case CD or the noise canceling hearing aids to kind of mop up after it, right? Then there's a lot of supplements I take too. We need to have a whole live stream about it. And if we'll do a live stream, but go to my playlist and I pretty much say everything that I do and kind of how I do it. And then a lot of other people who are in that live stream, you know, they say the things that they do. I really think the best thing, I have a problem with like helmets, like with heavy helmets. So the magnet helmet's kind of out for me. But if you get copper fabric or less EMF headgear fabric, or lambs.com has a beanie. The lead cap is like $40, which I really recommend the lead cap, even if you don't have it. And then grounding is like number one. If you're experiencing external hits, you got to put the grounding on a huge patch of skin, or get a grounding blanket, or get a grounding blanket if you don't like the straps, you know. Yeah, yeah, Alan, that's what it is. He's just making sure he has everything recorded, you know, for that. So okay, so this is the guy Polymeropolis, the guy who was hit in Russia and then came back here and was hit here too. So nearly 3 years after that terrifying night in the Moscow Marriott, Polymeropolis' constant migraines have still not abated. So what does that mean, guys? Does Polymeropolis, he's a CIA agent, he should know about these technologies. It means that he's still being remote neural monitored and remote neural manipulated. It means he's still being targeted. So he's living in America now. So he was a CIA agent that went to Russia. Whatever happened there, they started hitting him in a hotel. Then he came back to America. He's still experiencing the migraines, still experiencing the high-pitched sounds. Somebody in Russia is still targeting him in America. See this mess? I mean, we know this mess. We live this mess. Botox, plasma, steroid injections, visits to a chiropractor, nothing has helped, and painkillers don't seem to touch it. He is enrolled in an NIH study for which once a year he is hooked up to an elaborate machine that spins him around to test his balance. It takes him days to recover from the nausea. He's not alone. Smith of the University of Pennsylvania told me that the good news is that everyone improved and many people's symptoms resolved. Yet many of the State Department staffers affected in Cuba and China are still disabled. We're seeing that people from Cuba and China are still getting targeted. Polymeropolis is still getting targeted. Smith of the University of Pennsylvania says the good news that everyone improved and many people's symptoms resolved. I wonder where they were from. I wonder where the people whose symptoms resolved were from. Maybe Russia, more of them from Australia, Russia, those countries. Maybe the people from countries that are allies of America, maybe. Some are wheelchair bound. Others have to wear weighted vests for the rest of their lives to correct their balance. Many have had to retire prematurely. I can't work. I can't work because of this. And I have to be on Social Security. Like Jerusha says, I also believe that I can't be killed. As you said, Kyle, almost happened again 2 days ago, and I've had so many very close calls. Yeah, I've had so many near-death experiences. Yeah, Rachno Nixon says, I want to get an old school carbureted car with no onboard computers of any kind. See if that makes a difference. Yeah, they screwed up, my computer systems on my car. So it always shows the engine light needs fixing. There's certain things that are completely broken on it. Amen, Pine Doc. Pine Doc says, everlasting life in Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen to our spiritual power. Amen to God in the name of Jesus Christ helping us. And it may just seem so weird, and you're like, this will never get better, and my body's so broken, and this is the end of my life. And if you just have faith and you keep going and you believe and you do the best that you can in the place, I don't want to say where God has put us, because evil man has put us here, but God controls everything, and he knows we're here. We do the best here. Something good's going to happen. Miracles are going to happen. So, okay, Polymeropolis says the CIA still refuses to send him to Walter Reed for medical treatment, but according to a source on the Hill, that diplomats, the State Department and Department of Commerce have treated their employees far worse than the agency has. These employees were struggling not only with their injuries, but they were ostracized, and some were even reprimanded for saying they were sick, says New Hampshire Senator Jean Shaheen. In 2018, she was approached by, yeah, see, that's the important part. These employees were struggling not only with their injuries, but they were ostracized, and some were even reprimanded for saying they were sick. Now, why would that be? Because they're trying to cover up this technology. Even if a foreign country is hitting one of Americans' agents with this stuff, with integrated directed energy weapon systems and integrated neuro weapon systems, and messing them up and remote neural manipulating them, America still wants to cover it up because it's experimenting and torturing how many of its citizens? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? We don't know. So obviously America wants to cover it up. Okay, so it says New Hampshire Senator New Hampshire Senator Jean Shaheen knows about directed energy weapons and knows about the Havana syndrome. So that's another senator that knows about this stuff, as her reports. In 2018, she was approached by a constituent who had been hit in China. Since then, Shaheen and her staff have become unofficial caseworkers for dozens of diplomats and trade officers affected by the Havana syndrome in Cuba and China. There's been very little progress from what I've seen, Shaheen says. Sadly, it sometimes seems like those tasked with unearthing the truth of the matter are more concerned with limiting the patient's understanding of their own ailments and burying the issue. And you know, I went to Dr. Hoffer. I think he's a great guy. I don't know. I like Dr. Hoffer. I just like talking to him. I don't know if he's a great guy, but he knew way more than he would tell me. He knew so much more about this stuff and so much more about people being hit by it than he would tell me. And it seems like even good people in the system keep their mouths shut because they can get into a lot of trouble, maybe even be hit with this stuff, but maybe even be fired. You know, be fired, put in prison or whatever, or hit with the actual weapons. Shaheen is also aware of similar attacks on Americans on American soil, but says she doesn't know of anything that's being done to counter that threat. So she's talking about us. We're the Americans being hit on American soil by the American military-industrial complex. If you're in another country, you're being hit by your military-industrial complex and contractors and subcontractors in that group, you know. In the meantime, according to several sources on Capitol Hill and at the CIA, the National Academy of Sciences has completed a report. We need to get that report. National Academy of Sciences report. Academy of Sports. Commissioned by the State Department assessing the potential causes of the Havana syndrome. The report, now under review at State, many of the same conclusions that Smith and his colleagues at the University of Pennsylvania did. David Relman, a Stanford immunologist and microbiologist who chaired the Academy's Committee on Investigating the Havana Syndrome, told me that he is deeply frustrated that their report still has not been made public. I wonder why it's not been made public. They're saying it's remote microwaves that are damaging these people. So it's the National Academy of Sciences completed a report. We need to find that. I am going to find that. If somebody has that, please email that to me. But I'm going to look that up. We're going to do a live stream on that. We're just going to pour, the information is pouring out about people being affected by these weapons. Mainstream news articles. It's mainstream, guys. We're not, the torture's not stopping, but we're mainstream. Remote neural manipulation and microwaves, it's all becoming mainstream on certain people right now. But right, that's a door opening to where you see in the article, Americans on American soil, similar attacks, right? So we got this door opening. The walls coming down, shaking, the ultimate warrior, Samson, knocking down the thingies. Hey, Tansy. He says, hey. Tansy says, hey. Tansy says, hey to everybody. Hi, all. Arachnonix says any car with a remote lock can be gotten into, just have to hit the right frequency. Yeah, Arachnonix says they don't even have to use a Slim Jim or anything like that. They can open it without even touching the car. Yeah, they can just make a key for your car, which is what my neighbors, that house that burnt down, my neighbors just made a key, an electronic key to my Toyota. And I may have somebody around here doing the same thing. Jerusha says, can anyone tell me the name of Brian's channel? You talking about Brian too, Jerusha? It's just BRYAN and then space and then 2 TEW. Yeah, they can hit you pretty bad in parking garages and stuff. Okay, so the National Academy of Sciences has completed a report that agrees with these agents that it is microwaves, that their brains are being affected by. The National Academy of Sciences, the UN, the Pentagon has admitted it. Many American intelligence agents and many intelligence agents in other countries too. You probably have Russian agents, Polish agents, Australian agents, New Zealand agents. You probably have, you know, English agents all talking about getting hit by this stuff because it's just going on everywhere. They're just using this technology on everybody. Okay, so the report, now under review at State, apparently reached many of the same conclusions that Smith and his colleagues at the University of Pennsylvania did. David Relman, a Stanford immunologist and microbiologist who chaired the Academy's Committee on Investigating the Havana Syndrome, told me that he is deeply frustrated that their report still has not been made public. He says it describes distinct clinical findings and plausible mechanisms responsible for the injuries, and that the American people and their elected representatives deserve to read what we have found. They have deserved to know about this, and we have all deserved to know about it in more detail. Everybody is being done from years and years ago. Smith's ongoing research has offered new insights into the Havana syndrome, if little encouraging news for those suffering from it. In 2019, Smith and his team published a follow-up study that used advanced neuroimaging and brain connectivity studies to look at the brains of diplomats hit in Havana. This technique showed what less sophisticated imaging had missed. The patient's brain connectivity was severely affected, especially in the cerebellum and brain networks that control auditory and visuospatial functions. Because they're doing V2K, they're doing inner voice auditory, and then they're doing visuospatial functions. They're putting visuals in our visual space. So it makes a lot of sense that the cerebellum and the auditory and visuospatial functions would be affected. This all lines up with what targeted individuals are experiencing. Their volumes of white matter. Their volumes of white matter, the inner, deeper part of the brain, were significantly reduced. White matter is made up of axons, the delicate wiring of the central nervous system. According to Smith, it was the axons and their carefully arranged structure that were damaged in people suffering from the syndrome. If the axons break, that's it, he told me. They won't reconnect, and you're not going to grow new axons. You only have the ones you're born with. That's scary. If the axons break, that's it, he told me. They won't reconnect, and you're not going to grow new axons. You'll only have the ones you're born with. And that's why we see a lot of agents that were hit with remote neural manipulation and all this stuff. They get neurocognitive disorders like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and things like that. It's very scary. The brain, Smith says, but that takes time, and the compensatory mechanisms are often far from perfect. Is it so far-fetched to imagine that the Russian government is inflicting potential permanent brain damage on U.S. government personnel? No. Every country has these weapons. They're using them on their citizens, experimenting on their citizens because they don't want to do it out of house. They want to experiment on their own citizens as not to give the secrets away of their protocols and the frequencies they're using and the advancements to other countries. But then there's this global proliferation of neuroweapons, directed energy weapons from the top of the pyramid, using countries experimenting on their citizens to make a neuro society globally. So yeah, all this chaos going on and agents being hit and us citizens in every country being experimented on, and then at the top of the pyramid is using all this chaos to collect data and everything to advance AI and all that stuff to make a neuro society. Like people just have different levels of knowledge of what's happening and what they're doing with certain technologies at different levels of the pyramid. In general, the Russians have no compunction about doing this kind of thing, says John Cipher, who was a clandestine CIA officer in Russia and was deputy director of Russia House during George W. Bush's presidency. They don't give a shit, he says, about physically harming American officers. He and other CIA veterans pointed to reports of the KGB bathing the American embassy in Moscow in microwaves for decades during the Cold War, as well as other intelligence tricks that potentially compromised the health of American diplomats and spies. He says he remembers the Russian security services zapping him and his colleagues in Moscow with radiation to see if they were carrying electronic equipment. He says he remembers the Russian security services zapping him and his colleagues in Moscow with radiation to see if they were carrying electronic equipment. The CIA officers all joked about their testicles and the potential health consequences, but as far as Cipher could tell, none of it was done to deliberately cause injury. Now, let me tell you guys, when at the beginning of this, probably about 2013, 2014, I was calling everybody, and I ended up just calling the Army. I ended up calling the U.S. Army, and but like I ended up getting to like a recruiting center, and this guy, this is just a regular guy in the U.S. Army recruiting center, right? And I go, okay, well, I got this guy on the phone. He works for the U.S. Army. He's in a recruiting center. I go, you know, I'm getting hit with microwaves. I'm getting hit with remote microwaves. They're hitting me in the you know, the head and stuff like that, a high-pitched ring in the ears. I think it's like microwaves or something like that. And he goes, well, son, you need to cover your, he said this, he goes, well, son, you need to cover your balls. He knew exactly what I was talking about. He was just some guy in the Army recruiting center, and he knew exactly what I was talking about when an American citizen saying, I'm getting hit remotely with microwaves. He knew exactly what I was talking about. And that was in 2013 or 2014. They all just make a big joke about it until it happens to them. As long as it's not happening to them, it's like, cover your balls. You don't want to, you know, get testicular cancer or prostate cancer. Those things are so funny. Okay, Samia says, Tanya, I did talk to them. They told me to file a report with the state attorney general. Yeah, Sammy, it's really hard to get attention about this. Sammy says, Kyle, who do you go to report this targeting? Well, that's the problem. We've reported it to the UN, so the UN knows. You know, apparently the CIA knows. The National Science Council has written a report. It's well known that this is happening, but when we go and report it to the police, we're called mentally ill. The UN's the biggest boy that you could report anything to about torture going on in countries, and we've reported it to them, and they know. Like, people in the UN know and have testimonies. My thing right now is not to go to the police and not to go straight to, but I am signed up with, I think I'm signed up with Targeted Justice for their class action. But what I want to do is I want to work with some doctors. I want to work with some doctors, see if I can get an implant out, and then I'm going to, you know, get a lawyer and fight it that way. Probably individually. I'll try and do the class action too. We reported it to the big boys. The Senate, the House Permanent Select Committee got a briefing by the CIA on microwave hits to probably agents and microwave hits to probably citizens, because the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. So, you know, I have to say, if I knew who to report this to and like get it fixed for me, I probably wouldn't be making YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? But we're working on that. We're reporting it to many different authorities where it's such a complicated issue. It's the people that are doing it are so powerful that the authorities know about it. Some authorities are participating in it. Other authorities are trying to actually stop it, right? Like Niels Melzer. And then it's gonna have to be this gradual thing because it's so dangerous. And then those authority figures, if they do, decide to help us, they've got to walk very carefully because this is the most dangerous situation. It's the most complicated situation, even if you weren't an imminent threat of your life and being tortured to death. But then you add that, and then it becomes a very, very dangerous situation. So we just have to know what we're dealing with. And I'd say this is a sad thing, guys, that YouTube, a lot of people have been kicked off of YouTube. The 17th letter of the alphabet. A lot of people talking about CV and stuff like that. However, I think as targeted individuals, we might need to see this as an opportunity. There is kind of a gap in news about the truth, and this is something that needs to be reported in detail. So I'd say if you're a targeted individual, don't put all your eggs in one basket on YouTube. I think I've done that, but do things in other places. But make a YouTube channel, keep getting information out. You'll probably get better views because a lot of the truthers have been pushed off of YouTube. I think I have a small enough channel, so I'm skating by. Which, thank you God. Thank you God. Alan says, yep, Kyle, if countries do it on their own citizens, they won't be accused of war crimes, since medical experimentation and tortures evidently isn't illegal. Yeah, it's a big angle of it is they don't want to experiment on Russians because then those Russians will go to their government and then the Russians will research what Americans are doing. So they keep it in-house, right? They citizens so they can keep all their secrets that they're learning. But probably that too. There's a statute that says any citizen can be tortured, experimented on, killed if it's for national security. There's a statute that the public is unaware of. So the CIA officers about their tests. Whatever health effects occurred seemed like unintentional collateral damage. If the Russians were now targeting U.S. personnel to knowingly cause brain damage, this is definitely an escalation, Cypher says. It's the asymmetrical way of doing things. You push until you get pushback. You push until you get pushback. This is a fairly accurate assessment of how the Russian government operates abroad, especially under Vladimir Putin's leadership. Historically, he's kept pushing the boundaries until he's met resistance. Every leader of every country, a lot of them don't even know about these programs. Like their black projects and industrial complex are doing it with where they have some knowledge, but not full knowledge of what's going on. Or incorrect knowledge of what's happening. Incorrect knowledge, like somebody could have briefed Donald Trump and said, well, we've got these remote microwaves. They can make somebody hurt and isolate them. So we're finding all these terrorists in America and we're just isolating them and watching them and kind of experiment on them. Like could have just framed the whole thing in a completely like, oh, these are really, really bad terrorists who have done horrible, violent crimes, and we're remote neural monitoring them. We're keeping them isolated, right? You don't know how it's presented. And even in that way that it's presented, it should not be done. But you don't know how like a Donald Trump would respond to that. Now, I think Putin would have a lot more knowledge of what's going on in his country and who's being experimented on. Let's pass this up. American foreign policy specialists who want to reinvent the U.S.-Russian relationship can't quite understand why the Russian security services are still doing this. It's because every country's doing it. other than because they can, and because with Trump in office, they will most certainly get away with. Every country's getting away with it. They create fighting with them. No, America is really bad. Like America is like the evil empire. They lie and they try and get into fights. The way that the way that everybody harps on Russia so much, I kind of think that Russia is trying to kind of get a country going that was like what America was a little bit. Okay. Until recently, the details of the CIA investigation that links Russian intelligence services to the attacks have been tightly held at Langley. Earlier this month, according to the three sources, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence asked for and received a briefing on the matter from the CIA. The committee has long-standing concern related to whether foreign adversaries might be seeking to do harm to Americans abroad, particularly the men and women of the intelligence community who often toil in shadows with no public recognition of their many sacrifices, said Chairman Adam Schiff in a statement to GQ. Okay. But Schiff and his staff declined to comment on whether a briefing had even happened, let alone on its substance. It's not clear if information from December 2019 briefing to the NSC ever made it to the president, and the White House has not been briefed since. I mean, you got this Senate House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. They know that citizens are being experimented on. The CIA has to brief them, and they have to know about human testing if they're the House Senate Intelligence Committee. Yeah, Rackno Nixon says Patriot Act was drafted months before 9/11. So Samia Campagna says, Kyle, what about human rights organizations? Yeah, we should still work with them, Samia, but the human rights organizations haven't been able to help us much. They won't do anything for us. PAX has been trying to work with what's the human rights organization? I can't remember. So it's not really getting us anywhere, and they always kind of push us off onto somebody else. Like I heard you saying in the chat, you went to this human rights organization, and then they said to go file a complaint with your attorney general. Everybody is just passing the buck, right? Everybody's just passing the buck, which is a hopeful thing. It's a hopeful thing when you see that Niels Melzer has collected all this information, testimonies and everything, talks about torture, but he's not passing a buck. He's not blaming somebody else. He's just kind of being a little bit quiet about it. And that makes me think that he's pushing forward with it in other avenues. He couldn't just come out and declare it like that. That would have been very dangerous for him, I think. I think it just wouldn't have worked. Okay, Samia said, Kyle, even 2020 or Dateline had a documentary on it. We're mainstream. Directed energy weapons are mainstream. People getting hit with microwaves remotely is mainstream. People's brains getting messed with and remote neural manipulates, mainstream. This is mainstream. This is artificial, right? This is our mafia mob society artificially saying, nuh-uh, you didn't see anything. Nothing like that's going on, and holding a gun to. This is not a situation where people can't understand this is happening. The secrecy ensures that Russia suffers no consequences for its actions, and the impunity may motivate Russian security services to carry out more attacks. Why don't we focus on American agencies and contractors and security services torturing American citizens first before we focus on a couple of agents that went to Russia and Russia hitting them with these weapons? I'd say the bigger evil is people in their own country using these weapons on people in their own countries. So this is why intelligence officials leaked the information about Russia bounties on American troops in Afghanistan to the press. And it was stated, motivation of my sources in revealing the highly sensitive information they possessed on the microwave attacks. They felt they had no other recourse. It was also another way to continue the work Polymeropolis did at the EEMC, expose what he thinks are Russian covert operations with the aim of thwarting them. We need to stop the American covert operations and every other country doing this also. I don't know why the finger is being pointed at Russia. The fact that the agency has not aggressively pursued the investigation or gone after the people involved infuriates Polymeropolis too. Oh, what do you think, Polymeropolis? You just got hit in 2008. A lot of this have been tortured for like 20, 30 years, maybe our whole lives. So go sit on it and spin. You're a CIA agent. I have no compassion for you. If there was an Al-Qaeda threat against our officers, we would do everything possible to shut it down, but also to catch the people involved. Yeah, that's right. If there were terrorists doing terrorist activities, you'd do everything to shut it down. Yet now we live in an inverted world where terrorists are doing all the activities to innocent citizens who are dying and being tortured, and everybody says, yay, society's run good. Polymeropolis told me, I don't see any of that happening here. What I would have expected would be this full court press that, you know, if we have senior people traveling and you think the Russians are going to hit him, have teams ready to try to capture the people carrying out the attacks. Well, what if they're remote? What if they're on a Russian military base using the remote infrastructure? These people who are getting hit need to learn more about this, because they're like, oh, there are these people following me around everywhere and hit me with these things. But it's way more advanced, where there's an infrastructure. They can switch to microwave towers, switch to over-the-horizon radar, switch to drones, switch to satellite to microwave towers. Much more complicated than a group of people following somebody around. As far as Polymeropolis knew, the agency wasn't doing this, or even sending a private high-level message to their Russian counterparts warning them to stop. The fact that the CIA still wasn't doing any of this was damning in Polymeropolis' eyes. But Polymeropolis is largely reluctant to criticize, spit on the CIA. They're a bunch of liars. They got all this off the ground with MK Ultra, and then these Russian, the KGB doing all this nonsense. They've both built up satanic empires where they just experiment and torture people and collect data out of destroying families on the CIA. He is clearly nostalgic for his time there. And when we met this summer, we escaped the heat into the carpeted cool of his suburban basement, where he proudly showed me his medals, souvenirs, and photographs from his many exploits in the Middle East. He is careful to separate the agency from the Office of Medical Services, and even then he makes a point of defending the young doctors who he says were very kind and empathetic. When I pressed him on whether he was angry at the agency, he grew philosophical. Look, it's incredible. I was never killed in Afghanistan or Iraq. Polymeropolis told me, I'm not mad at the Russians. At the end of the day, we have a lot of adversaries, and you kind of chalk it up to that. I am more looking for what doctor is going to help me stop having these goddamn headaches. What you need to do, you're going to have to stop the torture, because you're still being tortured. You're still being hooked into remote neural monitored and remote neural manipulated and hit with microwaves, so you're going to keep having headaches. It's not something that happened to you where you are being tortured and that injury just keeps going on. Boy, the lighting on my videos looks really horrible, doesn't it? It's like the light's just coming from the front, and I look really, really pale. I look like I'm telling a ghost story. Let me at least take these off. So I look a little bit. I'm going to take these off for videos from now on. I want y'all to see my beautiful eyes. Okay, so Kelly says, I live in Virginia and I'm close to. I would almost guarantee you that it is a base in your city or around your city. I would guarantee that. So we all need to start looking into military bases around us. That's where they're going to have the integrated directed energy weapon systems housed. Don't think they're putting them in corporate buildings, and they sure as hell aren't putting them in people's houses. You may have people with ground weapons or certain little things that they're doing to you in their houses, but not the whole integrated neuro weapon system in somebody's house. I just don't think so. Pine Doc says, some of my targeting ties to United Kingdom, and it's because they're big on trafficking there. I found it out in my research effort. Oh, wow. Yeah, Tanya says, and babies too. Kyle are getting tortured with microwave weapons. Yeah, people's like those agents that they were attacking, and then the agents walk into the room and their kids are like in doing the same motions in bed. So to get at parents, they're attacking kids. To get at me, they're attacking my dog. To sometimes I think they're probably just attacking kids. They're just attacking whole families. Say you got a mom and a dad and 2 young daughters or something like that. They're going to be targeting that whole family, doing weird stuff to them, surveilling those 2 young daughters, like in the shower and stuff, maybe hitting their private parts and things like that. And it's done to so many families, right? Maybe in some families, like we talked about this before, there was a young girl who was born with schizophrenia. And you can't be born with schizophrenia. It's like the most rare thing to ever happen. And she has imaginary friends, and it all kind of looks like targeting. It's like, were they targeting her in the womb and messing with her brain, right? Because this would mess with the dopamine levels and everything like that. And she comes out of the womb and they're still targeting her. And then the doctors just say, oh, well, it's schizophrenia, you know. Yeah, Arachno Nixon says fusion centers too. I think they're coordination centers for gang stalking, EMF attacks, etc. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think they're coordinating. You got what's the lady? Oh, Dr. Ronnie Kilda called our microwave attackers something. They're a group that's attacking, but they're working in conjunction with DHS fusion centers. So like when I go out, I'm getting hit with microwaves, I'm getting V2K, I'm getting all this stuff to the nervous system. I'm driving my car, I drive up to a light and it turns red, like they turn lights red on me all the time. That would be my attackers, my microwave attackers, coordinating with DHS fusion centers in some probably automated way to get those lights changed when I'm going out, and to keep constant like blocking in and boxing in and making me feel like I'm being controlled, right? Other cars with one lights, those are being coordinated by DHS fusion centers and InfraGard by FBI, DHS fusion centers, and then you've got the sheriff's department working with community watch groups that, they might contact your neighbors and stuff like that, and then your neighbors start gang stalking. So there's many different little groups people gang stalking for different little groups, right? Maybe if somebody, like I have a lot of ex-military guys in my condo, maybe for them it's like they sign up with InfraGard because they have certain things that they can do, but then normal citizens may sign up with DHS fusion centers and do some of the more simple gang stalking. You get the people with military training, and they are the ones that break into your house with InfraGard, right? I'm not sure, but it's like a lot of them work for different organizations. Yeah, Judge Judy says community jackass groups. Definitely. It's more dangerous than that, though. Like, we need to just call them jackasses and kind of laugh at it. But I mean, when you're harassing somebody and you're triggering somebody who is getting their brain messed with remote neural manipulation, it can be very dangerous. It can be psychologically so scarring that it's physically damaging and could hurt the person, give them a heart attack, give them cellular damage to their body if you're harassing somebody and they're in a state of being murdered by microwaves and tortured by microwaves. I got a bad batch of batteries. Last time I got batteries, they go out in like a couple of hours. Pine Doc said, after I talked about Rockefellers, I started getting skin burning attacks. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff started happening to me in 2008 when I really started looking into 9/11. I started looking into UFOs and everything. And I didn't know I was targeted, but things started getting a lot worse. And I'd have these dreams, like I would look up aliens and stuff, and then I'd have these really lucid dreams about, have you guys ever seen the movie Fire in the Sky, where you had the aliens and they were kind of like whitish color with long necks? I started having a bunch of very vivid dreams about that in my house in Texas. And I think those were directed dreams, but I didn't know I was targeted yet. I didn't have the high pitched sound, the microwave pain, not to my knowledge, because I had Crohn's disease. So I had a bunch of pain that could have been targeting, but I didn't know. It was all mixed in. Yeah, Tanya says police and contracts break into our homes and their family members. Yeah. Okay, guys. I'll read some more y'all's comments for a little while and put on my music a little bit. And we'll read some chat. But those articles are going to be in the description. And I'm just going to be putting more information out like that. We all need to be, it's coming out, guys. That's a mainstream article talking about remote microwaves, right? Mainstream. Like, I'm going to show my mom that. The UN, I think the UN it didn't do what we wanted it to do, but it's still coming. It's still rolling. And if we can quicken what I think these agencies that are actually doing that, you see America, they're coming out with all these articles and they're saying it's Russia, Russia has all these microwave weapons. This is what's going to happen, right? When this stuff comes out, you're going to have every country pointing at other countries saying it's them, saying they're using those weapons, right? You're going to see America trying to act like it's white as snow, white as the driven snow, not doing any of this when it's like, you know, torturing the hell out of its citizens. But this is, we see a pattern, right? We see a pattern of people panicking and blaming Russia. We see people going to Walter Reed Hospital who are, you know, the CIA can send them there if they're experiencing Havana syndrome. It's just cyber torture. It's being attacked by microwaves, remote neural monitoring, remote neural manipulation. Say Havana syndrome. That Havana syndrome is propaganda because they want you to say Havana syndrome so everybody thinks, oh, you got to cause a panic, right? But no, that's not the case. Anywhere on the globe, somebody can hit you with this if they have the technology. If they have the technology to access the, what's it called, the clearance or whatever, to be on an integrated directed energy weapon system, an integrated neuro weapon system. Arachno Nixon says, I used to stargaze for hours every night, started seeing something trebes, and started tracking them. Think that had something to do with my targeting. Yeah, probably if you're looking into something that they don't want you to look into, they'll just target because they have a protocol, right? Well, these type of people that look into this, they're going to be dangerous for our society. These people with the Constitution, or these people who read their Bible a lot, or these people that go to church a lot, or these people that are looking into 9/11, or these people that are telling the truth about CV, or these people that are telling the truth about, you know, what the left is going to do to this country. You know, and the list is going to get worse since Biden's in now, or since Biden is probably going to get into office. I hope not. I hope there's still a prayer that Trump can get in, but they're gonna widen this list. People who are Trump supporters might be targeted. Like Biden, in that the socialists are going to have a lot of control over the military-industrial complex. Like they can use it to target Trump supporters and conservatives and Christians and everything, like targeting is already doing, but it might get a lot worse. But I see a lot of stuff coming out, right? I see a lot of stuff coming out. Probably more people are going to get targeted who are conservatives, truth speakers, who like Trump and stuff like that. But if more people get targeted, then we have more of a chance of more news stories coming out like this, and then us being able to stop this, right? We just got to keep talking about it. The smartest man, Robert Duncan, said, just keep talking about it. Yeah, Judge Judy said Havana syndrome from special interrogation. Oh, I've seen one of those, Arachno Nixon, a black triangle. Yeah, I've seen one of those. All right, guys. I guess I'm going to go ahead and let's read a little bit. Let's hang out a little bit more. It's 3:37. Okay, we've only been going for 2.5 hours. It's not bad. I've been hitting my mark. Like the last live stream, it felt like it was about 2.5 hours, but it was like an hour and 38 minutes. This is good. I can do this. I can do more live streams if I do like 2.5 hours or so. And then once in a while, I don't know. I want to get the phone. But I'm like, if I have to pay for it, maybe we'll do some panels, and interviews and stuff like that. If you want to do an interview, email me. We can start doing some interviews, guys. So, Tanya, if you want to do an interview with me, Arachno Nixon, Pine Doc, I know that some people, you just don't want to get on YouTube. I totally understand that. But if somebody wants to do an interview with me, we can take out 2 hours, do a live stream. It can basically, you know, if you want to talk before it, that's fine. I don't know. Hey, Turtle Tribal Nation says, thank you for your encouraging words. I'm listening. Hi, Tanya. I hope you're doing okay, Turtle. Thanks for coming. Okay, Samia, I'll check your email out. I'll email you back and see what you're talking about. I know my brain's not gonna heal in certain ways. Like, it's not gonna heal up all the way, but I still do hold out hope and faith. Our brain can heal in a lot of ways that we can never imagine. And I really want to de-intensify these programs as they come out more and more in the public. They're not going to be able to do as many horrifying things without the whole public being involved and knowing. Now, will the public care in the future? I don't know, but it seems like this is it's going towards an unprecedented resolution with these technologies, an unprecedented quickening resolution with these technologies. Unprecedented technology that's been used to experiment on and torture and kill people over so many years. But now we're coming into the phase of, or we're already in the phase, right? We're kind of in the middle phase of where these technologies, they want them out in the public, and they can't carry on these experiments without, you know, with still having that. I love this guy. I love Pogo. I wonder, I hope he doesn't copyright, but he does this Muppet Mash. He's so creative. Check this out, guys. I don't know how he sees things. This is Pogo, P-O-G-O. That's what's his face? That's Darth Vader. This helps me with my targeting, because it's just so, like, you don't know what they're saying, and it makes your brain think in a different way. I love these. Pogo. Jerusha says, Kyle, with God, all things are possible. Touch not my anointed. Do my prophets no harm. Amen. We need that faith. We need that faith and that armor. Because we need that faith and that armor, guys, because when you're feeling like our Creator made our body and he put this gene, a God gene, in us, and it's activated when we believe and we have faith. There's a more scientific explanation to this, but when we believe and we have faith, that God gene's activated and we're propelled through this reality, then if we don't have that gene activated. God is brilliant. He's given us things in our organics to connect with him. And I don't know the full science of it all, but it's really important for doing amazing things, finding amazing things working out even when everything's wrong. This universe is amazing, and God made it in an amazing way. Some evil people are doing some really evil stuff, but the universe is still amazing. It's still amazing, and it still has wonderful, miraculous things, and it still has wonderful people. And we got to hold on to those things. We got to activate our God gene while we wake up, while we keep waking up, while we keep healing every day. You know, everything like no weapon against and stuff like that. But I'll end up doing things that I want to do in life. Yeah. You want to see this? This is funny. This one's super funny.
Watch this. Oh, hallelujah.
Can y'all see this? Hold on. I'm going to start it over just in case. This cheers me up. This cheers me up a lot.
Watch this. Oh, hallelujah. Get up right now.
Get up right now. He stole so much money from people.
I'm hearing something really powerful for someone.
Hearing something really powerful from somebody.
And now listen to this. Hallelujah. Send that man that reaching out to hurting people. Hallelujah.
So, Jerusha says they are trying to kill the God gene with Funvax and fluoride, etc., but they cannot kill God. Not possible. Many things like pineal gland cleansings, heavy metal cleansings, all those toxin cleansings that can cleanse our bodies out, and we can be more connected. We can be more connected to God. Tanya says, yes, the doctor put 30 days or 3 months. That's how many people are waiting. I can't believe. So they're making you wait for a surgery because of CV, Tanya? Oh my God. Is it it's a really important surgery?
Listen to this right here. I heard then it was like the Lord spoke that through me. Oh, there it is. Get up right now.
Get up right now.
There it is again.
There it is again.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Tanya says, I have to have a test done first. Yeah, Tanya, my dad just had a biopsy. They think he might have prostate cancer. They're targeting the hell out of him. I hope the biopsy reveals he doesn't have cancer. And my grandma fell again. My grandma fell again and had to go to the hospital. So my grandma and my dad are both being targeted and doing super bad. They're doing really, really bad.
This is what you do. Something more than it was.
I love Pogo, and it's like he makes music videos, and his thinking is so different that it just helps my brain to work in a different way. I love you guys. Thanks for coming tonight, Tanya, Turtle Tribal Nation, Pine Doc, Iraq. Everyone, Drunken Ninja, Jerusha McBear, Samia. Samia says, has anybody heard how Kevin Christian's doing? Didn't think he's made any videos lately. I have not checked up on any of Kevin's videos lately. I have not. Yeah, thank you for coming, Charles. Charles says, have a good one, guys. You too, Charles, man. Love you, brother. Good night, Arachno Nixon. Pine Doc says, love you all. Tanya White, don't consent, says, hey. All right, guys. So I'm gonna bring you guys more information on the next one. I'm just gonna be doing live streams, and then I'm gonna try and get my editing done. We're gonna try and do this. If you want to support me and support the channel, please go to paypal.me/Vulcan Wolverine, paypal.me/Vulcan Wolverine. If you like the activism I'm doing, it helped me out a bunch. It could help me to just do more and do this, because I've got to trying to get money from another job, Social Security, and everything like that. But if you can, if you're like a targeted individual that has to work and you're like, I can't really do activism, and you want to donate, I'd really appreciate it, guys. All right, I love you guys. Thanks for coming. Did I not say bye to any? Oh, take care, Punisher. Thank you for coming, man. All right, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. It won't be long. It won't be long, and it'll be good information. We're just going to keep pouring this information out. This is mainstream. People getting hit with remote microwaves is mainstream. The UN knows about it. We've got these things in place, yet our torture's still happening, right? So we've got things in place that we're pushing, but our torture's still happening, and that's what we want to stop. So you need to buy time, guys. That's why this week, be prepared for it's going to be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And I'm going to let you guys know a day ahead of time. We're going to have a big defense thing. We're just going to talk about defenses. We're going to learn. We're going to not learn, but we're going to pass around some ideas that could help us to buy more time through this and get out more good information. All right, guys. Good night. I love all y'all. Just stay strong. Let's say a short prayer in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. In the name of Jesus Christ, dear Lord, just put a shroud of protection around every targeted individual. Put defenses in their path. Please end our torture in these programs. Make more articles come out. Make more just concrete stuff about this in people's faces, so they will admit that this is happening, and the programs can then please just end these programs. God, please give us that miracle. If that's not your will, give us other miracles, defense, and things that can just tone it down so we can live our lives. Just thank you for everything good in our lives, our families, our friends, our TIs that help us. Thank you for all those things that we should be grateful for. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. In the name of Jesus Christ. Guys, I love y'all. Y'all stay strong, and I'll see you on the next one.